Good evening and welcome to Daily Politics and Trust TV. I am Shafi'u Suleiman. Tonight, we examine the political storm brewing ahead of 2027 as opposition heavyweights scramble to form a mega alliance to unseat the APC. The shock defection of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai from the party he helped build to the SDP has fueled speculation of a broader coalition. While critics see a formidable opposition force emerging, the ruling APC insists it remains unshaken and focused on governance. But can these alliances truly challenge the APC's grip on power? What new ideas do they bring and what obstacles will derail them? Joining us tonight to break it all down are the 2023 SDP Presidential Candidate Prince Adewole Adebayo, and also a PDP Chieftain Otumba Segun Sowunmi. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure. Good to see you.
Yes, I appreciate you for coming, in spite of the short notice.
Good to see you. It's nice to see you. Yes. You're grinning.
That okay? Thanks for the compliment. That's a good one. Okay, let's start with Prince. Your party is in the limelight, once again, with the announcement by the former governor of Kaduna State defecting, from the APC to the PDP, to the SDP. It has somewhat shaken the political landscape. I've had you welcoming him at some fora. But let me get your perspective. Why do you think it is necessary at this point in time, to begin to talk about this gang up to unseat the current administration?
Gang up.
The broader alliance we are talking about.
When it comes to the gang up to remove or to seat President Tinubu, it's a lot of errors there. The president was elected for 4 years. So when you talk of unseating, you are talking of if you want to remove him before the 4 years. Once his 4 years expires, then he has no other claim. He has to reapply.
That's it.
So the only thing remarkable about him is that he doesn't even appear to be interested in reapplying after 4 years.
How do you mean?
Because even the low-hanging fruits that a sleepy president can easily achieve for the people, he is not interested. So if you are concerned about President Tinubu's chances of returning in 2027, you should speak to him and ask him whether he is interested. Because nobody campaigns against Tinubu more than Tinubu himself.
How?
Yeah, because there is nothing that opposition can say about you that will ring as much bell like the rumbling of hungry stomachs. Like students returning to school and parents are having to sell their higher looms just to pay school fees. And when they pay the school fees, the teachers will not be there. And even the students don't have the safety and security to leave home and go to school. That when you speak to young people who are awaiting posting for NYSC, they have more than a dozen states where they don't want to go to. Not because they are not patriotic, but because they fear for their lives. That is even an official policy of the federal government not to post UCOR members to certain places, which means that the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is conceding the sovereignty of Nigeria in those places.
Is there any restriction? Because I understand, corps members are deployed across the country.
No, you go to NYSC, it's good for the media not to wait for opposition to give them information. Go to NYSC and ask them. You can always call them tomorrow and ask them the question. These are issues. And if you are having all these serious issues, then opposition is not the one to ask. You have to ask the government of the day, what are you doing? Why don't you behave in a manner in which you can look like a government? And which aspect? I believe that the reason why you have the confidence to call us into your studio is because you have made alternative plans for power generation. Even you, looking at your face, you do not trust Tinubu to give you electricity. So, with all of this happening, why do you think the country will not want to move forward? Who wants to spend his entire life growing up in the country and you can't find something good that you can hang on to. Right. That is the reason why we are giving people alternative platform. It is not something particular to Tinubu alone. If Segun Sowunmi here, God forbid, that I should run a government the way Tinubu is running it, he knows that I will oppose him. Don't you think so? I will oppose him. So it is something personal, and that's what we need to understand.
Oh, okay, we'll break it, further because you raised quite a number of issues. But let me get Segun Sowunmi, being a member, a chieftain of the PDP, and then also taking a part in this, mega. Even though he hasn't officially,
I beg your pardon.
But I understand he's also part of the talks. At some point you came up with what do you call
the alternative?
The alternative. So you're also part of the talks. Yeah. So why is it Nigerians will find it a bit difficult to understand why someone like Segun Sowunmi and perhaps his principal, because that's the bigger picture. Talking about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, we'll be thinking about pitching tent with SDP. When you have a political party that prides itself at some point as the largest political party in Africa, one that is there to rule for 100 years or so, why the scramble now?
Scramble for what?
To come together.
No. Look, please. Thank you. It's nice to hear my brother's perspective on the issue. Well, let me start by saying that the alternative movement, which I champion and I push, has nothing to do with forum shopping or platform hopping. No. I was of the view that we need to go back and re-engage the citizens of Nigeria on the broad conversation of governance, democracy, the way we want to organize our life, what do we understand about civic responsibility. And so that it does not have the coloration of an exclusive party or be speaking and preaching to the converted in your party. I made it a pan-Nigerian platform that all persons who are bothered as to one, why are people not turning up to vote? Two, why must every vote be procured, either by the ruling party, the opposition, and even the other? Why? Three, what exactly constitutes the conversation in nation building? Must it be so tribal? Four, if you are not happy with those that have been presenting themselves and lucky to serve you, are you going to be insensitive to what those of them that are saying things that are radically different, things that are profoundly unlike what the others are doing and not recycled, are you going to be unwilling to give them a chance? And in that case, if you are so upset with the ruling party and especially with the ruling man under less than 2 years, the question then be, let us now jointly look for who that alternative is, so that when we all have a bit of a meeting of mind on what kind of thing are we looking for, what kind of values, what kind of ideas, then we can then begin to figure out how best to show the world a paradigm shift in the quality of men, not just as president, but across the line. Because a certain generation of men seized the country in this democracy in 1999. And I'm not young in this play not to know that it appears that the same set of people who created the problem in PDP got angry to go and create the problem in APC, getting angry now to probably go and create the problem in SDP.
Okay. So
now, if that then be the case, my position is that, one, let us now begin to think about practical ability to solve the problem. Because before he became president, there was a Buhari that was marketed by the same set of people as some kind of messiah without evidence to even give you the suspicion that he will probably know what he's going to do there. Then he got in there. It was clear to them after about 2 years that this is not going well. For selfish reasons, they extended it for another 6 years. Then they had, hold on a second. They had a plethora of men to choose from to run their whatever agenda they say they are running their party. They chose him. We campaigned against him. I campaigned against him. He's won the country's election. And I believe, and I truly believe, it is premature, it is insensitive, it is not progressive, it is not disciplined, not to allow whoever is in charge to have some breather to work. There will be time for politics.
Right, okay, you raised quite a number of issues. You know, first you talked about the same old story, you know, that politicians keep talking about when it is about time for election. We need to do this, we need to do that to change the narrative, we need to engage the people, we need to do all of that. The same story when it is about time for electioneering and all of that. And then two, Nigerians will find it a bit difficult to understand where you belong. You know, people saw you in that video clip, you know, where yourself, Rufai, and
shall I explain that to you?
Kind of others, you know, that went to the SDP.
Yes,
so the impression is that
we had a listen. Let me give back for the record.
Okay, right.
At the beginning of the year, my friend Shehu Gaban, former PDP man anyway,
founding member,
then smartly invited some of us to come and think through the country and the issues and democracy and big ideas. And we met there and we had very strong conversation on big ideas. We never said we're joining back. We never agreed. As a matter of fact, let me be very pointed.
Yeah.
I was very clear to them. I am not interested in the amalgamation of strange characters who are angry, who are frustrated, who are looking for vengeance so that they can say they want to be the person. I'm interested in the substance of the who. When we find, I don't want to find him alone, myself and a lot of, including you, when we find the person that's okay, maybe this one can be able to do it, then I agree that we can then rally around pushing that agenda. We can't be frustrating the development of our country by ourselves because we have taken a perpetual position that if you don't get what you want in government, you have to be angry with government.
Okay, it's not the position because, you know, we haven't got to that stage where people will be saying, you know, so and so will contest and so on. Even Rufai, the defected to the SDP, he's talking about, you know, mobilizing, if you like, or talking with people of like minds, you know, to come together with a view to change the current trajectory and so on. But you've heard him talking about people who have inordinate ambitions, for instance, to contest, or people who are felt disenchanted with the system. They are not longer, you know, being patronized and so on. And how can you explain to an average Nigerian the motive behind this coming together in the first place?
Coming together of who?
You know, these politicians that we are talking about, you know, because quite a number of people are in the line of, so to speak, about to defect to the SDP. Rufai, you know, based on information, you know, it's just the one that took the bold step, you know, to go fast. Others are in the pipeline. So whether we like it or not, you know, just like the SDP chairman, national chairman said yesterday, the SDP is being seen as a vehicle that can deliver this shift that we're talking about.
Well, I'm in SDP. I've always been SDP. That's the only political party I've ever joined. I believe in the manifesto of the party. And the party is a national institution which, by the Constitution of Nigeria, allows people to have freedom of association. So when people come to our party to become members of our party, we understand that they're exercising their fundamental right of association. And we tend to show them our manifesto and our constitution. In fact, there's a person in our party called Dr. Oluwagloye. He prints tons and tons of these things, and he gives them to you like he's giving candy. Sometimes he has an electronic form. So sometimes you just wake up in the morning, he sends it to you and say, read the constitution again, and something like that. So we share it. Now, we are happy that people are coming to join us. And the speculation as to their motive, what happened to them before they joined us, that's for the media to handle. But the mission of the SDP, it remains the same. And that mission is that there is a chapter 2 of the Constitution, fundamental objective and directive principle of state policy. It is the area of concentration in the syllabus of governance that Nigeria has. We have the belief that people should go and study it And that no matter your ideological orientation or your history in politics, if you become acquainted with that and you take that seriously, it will be an ideological framework for you to approach governance different from the way APC has done it and the latter part of PDP when they were in government. And that many more Nigerians need to do that. And there are three fundamental problems about Nigeria. Nigeria is not a country where you can say they, them, whatever, because all of us are inside the country. We are affected. Secondly, there's something magical about the political class. The political class arose from the accident of military and post-military history. And that we must now understand that we need to deliberately cultivate the political class. The way the military will take a small boy, put him in military school. I think your dad was very good at that. They put them in military school, train them to become officers and soldiers. The way you went to school to study journalism and you came to this limelight, the same way you train nurses and all of that, we need to train the political class. Have a cadre that understand the country, understand the diversity of the country, the problems of the country, simple budgeting. Are you not seeing in Tinubu's government that there are adults who have become ministers, they don't understand budgeting? That the president himself, even though he's an accountant, does not know arithmetic. When it comes to dealing with... you can see from the budget, because I'm telling you, I know it's alarming to you because journalists have not left their job for us to be doing for them. What I'm saying is that if you look at the way they wrote the budget, even the Speaker of the House of Representatives said it in the joint session of the National Assembly that Tinubu's last year's budget performed below 30%. I don't know whether 30% make you pass in any school you have attended from elementary to now. What we are bringing together is that there is a deficit of quality in the political class. And that was the reason why I welcome El-Rufai, because no matter what political problems you may have with him, I'm not involved in his politics. But if you look at executive outcomes in specific assignments given to him, he has done very well. And for someone like me who is looking for ability to put together rapid executive capacity, because we have many years we have lost, we don't have anything that works. You cannot make a simple telephone call in Nigeria anymore. So you need people to run all these institutions. And we saw a talent in him, and when he shows interest in joining the party, we welcome him. Now, so it is not part of any grand anything. It is just a political party telling Nigerians to join, finds a person who has certain good quality that everybody agrees upon, that person has joined. What follows after that is that he will do his journey as a member of the party. Other people will join. I will be very happy to have Segun Sowonmi join the SDP. I will be very happy. But he will have to make his decision as an individual as to whether joining the party...
He's still sitting on the fence anyway.
No, he doesn't sit on the fence. He's in his own party. He has his own ideas as to, look, leave parties out of it. Let us have some broad principles. That's what he is saying. Yes, but I'm a party man. I can say, come and do that broad principle. It's not my party. We can disagree on that. We can have nuances. But the key issue is that we must learn to govern ourselves.
Right. Okay. Yes, we're about to respond. But before you react, to...
No, I wasn't reacting.
Yeah, you want to say something about what he has said earlier. But then I wanted to put it so that you can put them together. He has established the fact that there is a disconnect between the leadership and the principles of governance and the essence of governance, isn't it? And also, there are also deficit in terms of governance deliverables in Nigeria, even understanding of what governance means and how it can affect the lives of the ordinary people. And you are talking about a new thinking, the need to come back to the basis, engage the people and all of that. But some would say, all of this we are talking about, exists. It is not what Nigerians are. The same political elite exists. And then there's some sort of, the belief is that there's some sort of state capture by the political elites themselves.
Can you let me just quickly? Because Shafi, you have the tendency to take too much time in asking this. Okay. Let me explain.
I hope you get what I'm talking about.
I get what you're talking about. Let me help you.
All right.
The Republican Party in America is 171 years old. The Democratic Party, Democrats, they are 197 years. The Conservative in UK are 191 years. Labour is 125 years. The Communist Party in China is 104 years. The African Congress, ANC, is 113. I didn't want to mix the dates. Now, the point I've been trying to show even my people is that you cannot always insist that you don't understand the principles of building to last. You have to understand the principle of building institutions that can last. You cannot say, with all due respect, that there is any political party in this country that has tried the hardest to sustain the idea of its brand like the PDP. Yes, it is characters that jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out, that have majorly been responsible for the diluting of the ideology of parties. And I remember, I had said very clearly on one other channel to my friends, and thank God my brother is here. I have no problem with us reviewing the characteristics, the manifesto, the people that are in a political party and feel that, okay, this may be more meaningful. But it cannot be by happenstance. I am not afraid to follow a child. Let him lead me. I have no problem following a woman. What I don't like is following a fool who will go left, turn right, go forward, come back, and I'll be seeing it clearly that these guys are just a bunch of confusionists. Among the people that are having a conversation on how do we make the country to not become a captured state, the one that I see that I can respect apart from my alternative movement is the one driven by Dr. Aldo, the League of Democrats, because I can see the philosophy and the painstaking way they are going about to make sure that critical components of the Nigerian nation can even discuss what the issues are. Because you know what? It is very, very easy to campaign in poetry. All the fine words they will change it, Buhari will change it, and you just manipulate fairly uneducated and uninterested people. You hold them into giving you a fait accompli. You start complaining, you won't give the person the peace of mind to work. You finish that after about 8 years. You had Oshibajo, you had all the young, able, viral men who may not even have the perception of maybe weakness or going to the hospital every week. You people chose the one you chose. And you will not be in a country where you start to endanger the conversation of political space. The other day I'm told that somebody is going to the north claiming that because the food prices have come down, somebody is trying to affect. These are the thinkings that I see that is critically wrong with us. And I don't want us to put the cat before the horse. We have, and to Nasiru's credit, I have a feeling that this is a stopgap. I actually have a feeling that the elections that are coming up in Kaduna is one of the reasons why he needs to find a place where his people can at least test their strength. And I have a feeling, I can tell you again, I have a very strong feeling that sometimes after the Ramadan, maybe about July or so, there will be a cascading and a coalescing of the views. And what I will begin to find is that, do you know why I'm telling you this? In 2015, with due respect, the man is still alive. Thank God he's alive. I had told the former Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, after coming up on a show like this, sir, your party, the APC, has won. Can you people not calmly build it in an organic manner so that it will be able to retain its underpinning ideologies? When you make mistake, you repair it. This one that you're operating, everything operating is just coming in, including, I said to him then, these elements that are responsible for the destabilization of PDP, when they come into your system, you are going to have to say,
so you're not coming back to answer the question. Because the simple question is, are we reinventing, are we bringing in different set of people from another planet? It's the same politicians that we're talking about. It's the same political parties that we're talking about.
Welcome to why I took the difficult road of saying, let us go back and re-educate and re-engage our people so that the human beings that are going to participate in this selection will at least in minimum know what they are doing. Let me give you one that will shock you. You have a registered vote of about 93 million, people collected previously about 80-something million. Are you not embarrassed that 8-point-something million people voted the man into office, and yet the whole of the politicians are scrambling about, acting as if there's one Tarzan that cannot be defeated? He is defeatable. But you have to be more strategic. You can't come with anger. You can't be bringing your malice. You can't convert your personal frustration with your party to become the national conversation. So men like him, who have been staying in their party for some time, I have more respect for them, because I have been staying in this party since 1998.
Right. Okay, Prince, talking about because he also raised that. And a number of people are worried that why should there be conversations around 2027 in the first place when the current administration is barely 2 years in office? It has put in motion what they call the Renew Hope agenda, implementing it, and it believes that there is hope in the horizon and all of that. But yet, politicians like you, in the opposition, are looking at, are not appreciating, if at all there is some improvement, if you like, or if there is something positive about the government. Why is it that you don't see anything good about the current administration?
I am not blind. If I see good in front of me, I'll recognize it. But what I know is that good governance is not dependent on the opposition recognizing it.
Absolutely.
Good governance is going to show in the lives of the people. What I want us to understand is this. If you are a leader of a party like I am, 2027 is the shortest you can plan. I am supposed to plan up to 2088.
Correct.
I am supposed to be grooming presidents that will contest in 25 years' time. I'm supposed to be training them now and raising them as councillors, raising them as House of Reps member, and gradually training them. So leadership is not by accident, it's by training. So if you expect us as a political party to go and lie down and only be responding to INEC timetable, electioneering is a small part of political party life. Political education, cadre building, recruitment, discipline. The fact that I see something on television right now, and I go to my house, and I get a letter from SDP saying what you said is contrary to our manifesto, come and report yourself. It's part of party development. So, but media, when a political party is trying to discipline its member or question, you media will say, hey, crisis in the party, all of that. So the media needs to educate itself about its role as the fourth estate of the realm, and that the first three estates, legislature, executive, and judiciary, when they are faltering, the media is the fourth estate, will remind them. What we need to understand, the political party is as important as the Supreme Court of Nigeria, because it's a constitutional creation that is meant to play a role in how we come together to identify our problems, have alternative plans for them, and mobilize people around our perspective. Then election is the only time when we come out to say, this is what Sowonmi of PDP thinks. This is what Adebayo of SDP thinks. This is what whoever is calling for APC thinks and all of that. And then Nigerians will listen to us and say, oh, there's a higher probability that this is the way to go. And they will test it. And as they are going, the other parties whose options were not chosen will keep reminding. It's like in Nigeria, democracy is like a people traveling in a car, and they get to a junction. Somebody says, oh, this is the way to Kaduna. The other says, no, that's not the way. As they are going, the person will tell you, see, I told you, this is not the way to Kaduna. Well, let's turn back now. So there's nothing about enmity. Let me tell you something, which may surprise you. I do not appreciate Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the office of president. I knew he would not be a good president.
How?
Because I know what a good president will be. And I said everything about why he will not be a good president when we were campaigning. When they say he won, I wish him well. And I have not stopped him from being a good president. I have not sabotaged his effort. I have not burst a pipeline. I have not disturbed him. I have not raised propaganda against him. But I keep reminding Nigerians that I told you that look at all the reasons I gave why he will not be a good president. You can see that I'm right now. So in 2027, not only should we reject him, reject anybody that looks like him. And then these are the additional problems that he has created on top of the one he met. So if you now want to make decisions, you need to be wise about it. I think that that's the right thing to do. And there's nothing wrong about that.
Yes, but there's one thing that is fundamental, yes, you talked about the lapses, you talked about why you think things are not getting right, are not right. But then, nation building is not an effort of just a ruling party, for instance. In developed climes, opposition political parties and all of that, help in providing alternative solutions to problems facing nations. In Nigeria, it isn't the case now. It's just about, taking advantage of the lapses,
doing what?
And so on.
Why do you say I will leave my house for you to dehydrate me with big lights in the studio like this if I don't care for the country? So, don't you know a nation building includes somebody who, nation building is like a construction site. When a person comes, is making blocks, is mixing cement and building. The structural engineer who comes and say, this is against building code. This pillar is not straight. It's not part of the building. So people who come to tell the government that they are making an error, they are contributing to nation building. Nation building is not praising the president.
Of course not.
Yeah,
nation building
is pointing out. Only with pointing at the errors or providing.
I'm not only pointing at the error. I'm showing you a way to do it.
Okay.
And I'm giving you an alternative way to do it. They are building a 5-story building with broomsticks and straws. I am saying it's going to collapse on top of people's head. And I'm building my own and showing you how it's going to be done. That is my role under the Constitution. Let me tell you something before Segun, my brother, comes in. Just have one standard. Let every person play their role under the Constitution. Let the citizen obey the law, pay his taxes, and vote his conscience. That's his role under the Constitution. Let those who are elected to office, who have taken oath of office, live up to that oath of office. Let the media report accurately, fairly, and patriotically. Let the opposition oppose the government genuinely and show alternative. When everybody plays their role, the country will be good. Don't make me play the role of Tinubu spokesperson or Minister of Information. I'm not
that is not your role. Actually.
That's not my role. His own role is to bring his own person.
Yes.
To come here. As we are talking now, they can call into the studio and say, well, we have this perspective. We will listen to them.
Yes.
But we cannot be deceiving ourselves.
Yes, you want to make a point.
The truth of the matter is that I have always significantly offered better thoughts on their matters, alternative, and even criticism that I feel is even in their best interest if they listen. Take, for instance, I came out with blazing gun, screaming that a nation like Nigeria, you can't constitute the cabinet at the initial stage in such a manner that will begin to lose other section. If everybody's name is Segun, Bola, Bayo, Kemi, and all that, how the hell are you going to tell them there is only one section of the country that has brilliant people? Okay, when you move on that, you started devaluing the currency. I kept screaming, you are going to devalue our people into poverty. When you came and said you are removing this, I said, I get you, but hurry up with scaling up agriculture. Look, my brother, for me, I don't know about others, I have zero interest in shaming any human being. Neither do I have an interest in praising you. I am too vested, invested deeply, time, resource, energy, and even now following the narrow path, that we may have a country that we can all be proud of. And in doing that, I am also aware of the high risk factor of insisting that the only way to grow our nation is to always say, we are starting again. You can repair it as you go along. I have no qualms.
How do we repair it? Because, for instance, quite a number of issues that have been identified as impediments, to our growth and development in this country. As we speak, the constitutional reform, if you like, or constitutional amendment and so on, is ongoing. For instance, some of the issues you raised are tied to leadership, and leadership recruitment in particular. And today in Nigeria, the challenge largely is that you talk about the deficit in terms of trust between the leadership and the led. You talked about, the apathy, so to speak. Nigerians are not even interested. Why is the vote not counting? Again, some felt that there is need to change the entire, leadership recruitment process, beyond what it is, the existing one. For instance, there is need to begin to talk about independent candidacy, for instance. Today, political parties constitute a lot of blockade. Even if you have credible people who are ready, to contest and deliver, but the fact that they have to go through political parties would age them out. Why are we not conversing for some of this, as a starting point?
Listen, if you have 17 or 18 political parties as it is, and you are such a brilliant person on ideas, What's the big deal in standing with your party, working hard, losing, winning, losing, winning? Okay, if you jump and now say, for a people like ours, that, oh, they are now allowed independent candidacy. Of course, you are going to set some parameters before 100 million people will not be contesting for the office of president, and your ballot will be as long as what? Nigeria is one country.
But it has happened before.
With due respect,
seen how it produced credible leaders in Nigeria.
With due respect, you have not maximized the opportunity that exists now. Why should people think that the business of joining political parties, any political party, is not of interest for them? Why should people think that if they don't have their way, the political party that made them must be devalued to the level where they are the same one that will be demarketing it? Why? You can graduate from a school. You don't have to destroy your alma mater. In any case, I guarantee you, we have 2 years and let God spare all our lives. You are going to find out that with the same rush at which they are looking for what is not lost, that's the same rush they are not going to even be able to stabilize. Because if 20 people are hoping and thinking that all of them can be president at the same time, by what metric are you even going to shuffle them to get one? Then when they then go in and they cannot deregister all the other parties, how are you going to get those ones not to have candidates? So, okay, you're going to have a candidate in PDP, take that to the bank. You're going to have APC because they have the right of first refusal. I know my brother will likely say he wants to go and run again in SDP. Surely. Those that are running there now will not start complaining. They will run back to the other place. And then before you know it, in the midst of their personal ambition, the conversation of governance is completely lost. We are living in a time in the world where nations are bracing up and becoming more nationalistic, looking at their own investment, looking at how they're going to play in the world. You see what's going on in America, and then we're going to be the most popular black nation in the world, and the only thing we'll be seen to be doing is acrimonious politics in less than 2 years. Am I supposed to accept that, oh, truly, given what we know about the past 8 years, and given what we all know as the situation that he took over from, am I supposed to accept that he has committed such a big crime that will not be saying, oh, he's not doing anything, he's not? If the foundation of the country is faulty and somebody is sitting on the horse and is riding it, we can at least wait a bit. We don't have to be noisy about the reform of our party. It is a great sacrifice on my part going around the country to be begging people that Nigerians, be more interested.
So if we have a systemic problem at heart, it means it is not about political parties, and it is not perhaps about the actors themselves. So how do we change this narrative?
I don't agree that it's not about the actor of the political party. We have a leadership problem. Ashebe has solved that problem for how long ago, 1982 or so. That leadership is the problem of Nigeria. And leadership now comes through building political parties and raising people. I am completely satisfied with my party. I'm happy to be in the SDP on a good day, on a bad day, on an ordinary day. And I'm in that party, I'll remain there. I'm doing my work. Other people can remain in their party, do what they want to do. But what is clear is that whether you are in this party or that party, the standard is that you must be able to deliver potable water for people to drink. So I don't know of any country that in 2025 people are carrying buckets on their head and go to the stream like in biblical time. You must be able to put your children into school on time, and they learn rapid learning that we're learning now. It's not just learning literacy alone. We're still battling with illiteracy and literacy. But people have gone beyond that. Knowledge has gone digital. We're still discussing roads. Roads is a local government affair worldwide now. It's still a federal agenda here. People still carry traditional rulers to go and beg somebody, please pave our road for us. But all over the world, road engineering is learned at a polytechnic level. So that's what PWD used to do in those days. So we now understand that a country that cannot protect itself, you see what is happening to Ukraine with all their complicated alliances, that the president has to be washed down in the state house of another country, shows to you now that you need to take care of the security of your country. These politicians who are jumping here, doing whatever, don't worry about them. What we are trying to do now is other people who say they know what is right, come into politics. Take your time. explain the issues, band together. I do not, if there is independent candidacy, I'm not against it, but I will never be an independent candidate.
Why?
Because any person who cannot operate in groups cannot run a government.
Yeah, but we're talking about the impediments, created by political parties.
What is the impediment? They're just basic requirements. I joined the SDP.
You don't have money, for instance. You cannot contest.
I'm not the richest.
You have to turn out 100 million to get
I'm not the richest person.
I'm not the richest person.
I'm not the richest person in my family, but I was able to run for president. My party did not bankrupt me. What I know is that if you are running for president and you don't have 10 million people who believe in you, you need to go back and start working. What I learned from my first foray into presidency, apart from all the other things that's already in the public, INEC, whatever, what I learned is that you must start on time and you must be able to build followership with the people. And you cannot blame your people for not understanding you. When you are the leader, you are the one who needs to communicate with them. So that's why I'm letting us know that leadership, when we went and told the British, go away, we can rule ourselves. It has implication. You are now responsible for every of your problems. It's like a child who goes to the parents and say, I am now emancipated, I'm leaving home. He has to now find a roof over his head, protect himself from danger, save his money, work, take himself to the hospital, do everything
by himself.
So even independent in the first place.
Yes. So when you have got independence, so that's what I'm saying. So now, we are of the age now where we should be president, we should be IG of police, we should be the chief of defense staff, we should be the professors of universities, we should run, this is the age that we should run things. And there's no problem that Nigeria has that a person with a simple common sense and focus will not be able to do. What I gather, which is very correct from Mr. Sowunmi, is that the manner in which politics is organized is like a person who starts to select somebody to play a penalty kick in a game. You are playing against another team. Because of the rancorous way in which they produce the person playing the penalty, his own team members are pulling him, right, kicking him here. How is he going to focus and play that penalty? So we're trying to organize our politics in such a way that first is agreed from the beginning that not everybody will be chosen to play the penalty. And that training people to play penalties takes time. And once we discover that this person has a better talent than the other person playing penalty, when penalty comes, that the person will call. But when we are choosing a defender, we will not choose him. Right. So that's what we're letting you know. That's what we are letting now in our politics.
Yes, based on what he just said, you can add with what you want to say. The need to get the right people at the right time, to govern. And one, also looking at the nature of people that are being anticipated, perhaps to join the party and all of that.
Which party?
How do you think the SDP, for instance, his own political party? How do you think this can be managed? Because we have entrenched interest, people of, with their own varying interest. How can that be managed?
Shafi, I have advised my friend, their chairman, and my brother, I'm advising you too. I am more interested in political parties that can organically grow their ideology as against one that in 5 minutes, when you think that these guys are up to something, the whole thing gets muddled up. That was why I told you about the APC example. With due respect, at the beginning when the APC won with Buhari and all of that, never mind the fact that I was not part of their party, I was actually hopeful that now we have a little to the right and a little to the left. But they did not have the discipline of growing that party organically, and before you know it, the place is a mishmash of ideas. You can't even find the ideologically entrenched progressive. As for us in the PDP, I have backed Atiku, and I keep backing him only for one reason. I had convinced myself, and I think I'm still persuaded to some extent, until he loses me, that wait a minute, that the housekeeping issues of this country, on the structure of the country, on how the country should even settle its issues of tribalism and the power sharing, I felt that because their generation knew the directive principle of how this country was handed over to them, they understood and went to school with Balewa and all of that. They know where this country was meant to be. I felt that their generation has one more assignment before they get us upset with them, to go and tidy that housekeeping issue, lest from what I am saying, we may end up even going to war with ourselves, because if the conversation becomes so tribal, wouldn't everybody push back from his tribe? And so that we don't become a tribal nation that will just go and destroy itself in the future. I wanted the housekeeping issues tidied.
Right, okay, very good. It's your political party, for instance, and this is a very serious concern. I've heard the national chairman talking about the fact that there is no automatic ticket. People have to go through the processes, at whatever level, at states, at the national level, and all of that. Are you worried that perhaps the influx of people into your party could, create some problems?
Problems are meant to be created by people and solved by leaders. We will not lose control of our party. Those who are joining our party now are joining as followers. They go to their ward and join. Everybody has their own tendencies. If you come to a party and you show tendencies that are contrary to the mainstream of the party, we have mechanism for dealing with it. I ran for president of Nigeria. Yeah. Even if they didn't come to my party, they will be in the country that I'm governing, that I'm servicing. So you can't run away from people. And you cannot have a fait accompli that, this person comes. Your process, what happened to other parties that could not deal with the ambition of their members and all of that? 3 problems. Phil is in PDP, and I have respect for him and many leaders of PDP, but they went into error where they got heavily funded by their governors. And they become dependent not on membership fees, but on money backs. And members who were nobodies, who used the party to become governors, became overlords. And they could dissolve a neck, they could do whatever they like, so they lost their way that way. For APC, they were in a hurry to capture power. They did not even know each other's names correctly. So they got there, that's their problem. Ours, we are building. And of course, when people are looking for political shelter, a political party cannot refuse them. You can refuse to make somebody a candidate, but you cannot refuse to make him a member. Right. So what we are trying to do is, people come into our party, if they bring crisis, we have mechanisms to deal with the crisis, but we are not going to be succumb, or we're not going to succumb like PDP and APC can succumb, where you are coming with money, you are coming with whatever. We are focused, and I am supremely confident that the SDP will go for the best. And all I need to do is to make sure I'm better than myself every day. And when the time comes, I can look in the mirror and say, I think I can go to my party and say, I'm okay. So I don't worry about that. Right. What matters is that we must understand that the people outside are waiting. They want us to give them a government that works. They're not interested in all this, our ambition and speculation.
Right, thank you very much. Your last line. Building from what you just said, giving the people the right kind of leadership they deserve. How can we get that happen very quickly?
Precisely because, unfortunately, we have created political parties in the image of individuals. And so our politics too tend to follow one individual or the other. We need to become a process-driven, rule-driven, ideology-driven party. If you don't fix the party, you cannot produce a reasonable government from the kinds of thought processes that produces them. And it is the reason why initially I kept shouting, fix PDP, let's reform it. Guess what? Everything considered, the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria is one party that in every household, somebody is a member of the party. All that is required that people are complaining about, they are just the consequences of being democratic. But have you wondered why all through the so-called crisis that people are jumping there, we have always produced candidates. In Edo, we produced Aswe Godalo, and we produced them in a clean primaries. The area where we have the issue is that people run to court a lot, and you must obey the court. And if others,
the election is still contentious.
Yes, if others dare become half our size, they will contend with what we are contending, and they had better learn to understand that putting big people into a room It's not as easy as that to manage them.
Yeah.
You will think you can, it's money. It's not money. For me, it's character.
All right. Thank you very much, Prince Adewole Adebayo, presidential candidate of the SDP 2023. We appreciate your coming.
Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
And Otumba Segun Sowunmi, we also appreciate.
Thank you for having me.
PDP Chieftain,
Absolutely.
you're still with the party. No time to get out of it. Anyway, and not anytime soon. Anyway.
Even if I was to get out, I know where to go.
All right. Thank you very much for coming. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition of Daily Politics. We do hope you had the conversation engaging and informative. Do join us tomorrow. We'll be back with another interesting topic and personalities. Until then, I'm Shafi'u Suleiman. Many thanks for being there.